What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 10 Team Builder for the League of Extraordinary Trainers. This week we are taking on Coach CM and the Grand Rapids Growers, another one of the Tylers. I believe it's our first match against the Tyler, and we have 6 weeks left against all 3 Tylers. That's pretty hilarious. 2 Tylers in a row, actually. We're going to be playing T-Buck Tyler and the Burning River Charizards in Week 11. But CM's team, he has Keldeo, Tyranitar, Tangrowth, Klefki, Mantine, Salazzle, Escavalier, Flygon, Mega Sableye, Bronzong, and Rotom Frost. Um, I don't know his Z users for this bracket yet, but we did make a change in our Z users. I'm actually not going with Magearna or Manaphy as a Z user this bracket. We're going with Mimikyu and Aselgor as our Z users, which you'll see in a second. And yeah, so I'm not expecting to see Escavalier because Rotom-Heat destroys it. I'm not expecting to see Klefki necessarily because I don't think that it's got a very good matchup against my team. And I'm not expecting to see Rotom Frost because I think that thing's trash and I can take Ice-type attacks fairly well with my team. But I am expecting to see pretty much anything else on there. Keldeo, Tyranitar, Tangrowth, Mantine, Salazzle, Flygon, Mega Sableye, Bronzong. Yeah, so he has priority in Klefki with the Prankster ability, Sableye with Shadow Sneak, and Salazzle with Fake Out. I do not have a Dark type to stop Klefki's Prankster ability, so it could come and just like Prankster T-Wave something along those lines. I'm really hoping Klefki doesn't come because that opens up the door for a lot of things to sweep. He has Hazard Setting in Tyranitar with Stealth Rocks, Klefki with Spikes, and Bronzong with Stealth Rocks. He has Hazard Removal in Mantine with Defog and Flygon with Defog. Both of those things are really hard to actually get a Defog off with because Mantine, they're both 4 times weak to various moves. He has 4 times weaknesses in Tyranitar to Fighting, Mantine to Electric, Escavalier to Fire, Flygon to Ice, and Salazzle to Ground. Quite a few that we can abuse there. Yeah, so let's just get started with my team. I'm running with Mamoswine. This week we're starting with Mamoswine, Logan, Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Ice Shard, and Knockoff. This is a pretty fun set that I love running on the OU ladder, actually. Just an Adamant, Max HP, Max Attack, Focus Sash, Oblivious set, so I can't be taunted by something like a Salazzle lead trying to taunt me. I think Klefki gets taunt. I'm not entirely sure on that one. He could Torment me, but I'm not going to go for Stealth Rock twice. This Mamoswine actually threatens a lot of his team because I can knock an item off of something or just do a ton of damage with Earthquake. Most of his team is weak to Earthquake. The only things that won't get hit by Earthquake are Mantine and Flygon. Mantine's obviously not going to want, obviously can eat an Ice Shard for days as well, but it's not going to want to get his item knocked off. I'm considering keeping this in the back if he just like doubles or something to Ice Shard the Flygon later. But this is basically my dedicated lead. And I'm hoping once we get Stealth Rocks up that it does work to his team. He doesn't necessarily have the most things weak to rocks, but if he's switching around a lot, he's going to take a lot of damage, and then my sweepers can clean up later. Next up is Cheng, our Mienshao here. Sorry about that. Choice Scarf Regenerator, High Jump Kick, Knockoff, U-Turn, and Facade. Just if we're taking some damage, I can U-Turn out of there and get my health back. High Jump Kick's just good stab. It's going to hit everything except the Mega Sableye. We can't really touch the Mega Sableye anyways. That's what U-Turn's there for. Excuse me. Knockoff to get rid of some items again. Facade in case we get burned by the what that thing is, Keldeo. Or if we're Thunderwaved by the Klefki, then Facade's going to do a ton of damage too. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're running enough speed to outspeed Flygon at +1. Max attack, rest into HP. Next up is Cade, our Magearna. First time I'm bringing this specific Magearna set this week. This is, I believe, the most common Magearna set on the OU ladder at the moment. But we're running Assault Vest, Floor Cannon, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Volt Switch. Floor Cannon's there basically for the Sableye, because I wouldn't want to necessarily... It's also there for the Tyranitar. Thunderbolt because he has an electric weakness in Mantine and an electric weakness in Keldeo, and his switch-in would be Flygon, which I have Ice Beam for. Volt Switch is there just for good momentum. Ice Beam also hits the Tangrowth, unless he's AV, it's not going to do much then. Max HP, max special attack, modest. We're going to hit really, really hard, and hopefully we can tank some good hits. Magearna is basically my special wall this week, tanking things like Keldeo, Obviously, we're not going to take a Secret Sword the best because it hits on the defense, but Magearna has a really high base defense in base 115, so I'm excited to hopefully tank that. Obviously, this is a really good switch into something like a Sludge Wave from Salazzle, and then he's not going to be able to touch us um, with a Flamethrower afterwards. The only problem is that I don't know if we're going to kill him with like a Thunderbolt. We may. I haven't calced that, to be completely honest, so I'd rather like Volt Switch or something like that. Next up is Dyrus, our Rotom-Heat. Needed a fire check to the Klefki and the Escavalier. This is also a good electric check to the Mantine and the Keldeo. This also deals with the Bronzong. I would expect he's going to be Levitate Bronzong for Nidoking and Mamoswine, because my fire coverage is pretty much Rotom-Heat. So if I'm him, I'm not running Heat-proof Bronzong against my team, and he does have a few things weak to fire. A lot of his team's weak to fire, actually, to be completely honest. He doesn't have the greatest fire switch-ins. It's pretty much Mantine and Keldeo, and Tyranitar, potentially. I have not prepped very well for Tyranitar, so I'm hoping that he's not like a Dragon Dance Tyranitar, because that could be really bad. Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Overheat, HP Ice with a Specs Rotom. This is a lot. Excuse me. This is going to be a lot of damage. Rotom hits really, really, really hard, and he doesn't have the best switch into a Thunderbolt in the first place. Oh, and whatever can take a Thunderbolt is not taking an Overheat very well. Max Special Attack, I'm rocking enough speed on there to outspeed Tyranitar, and I pop the rest into HP. Funnily enough, at level 50, only 96 HP EVs gives me an odd value because of the HP Ice IVs. So I have 12 points in defense, which is kind of neat. Yeah, that's Dyrus. And then we have Noah, or Licky Licky. We're just running a very defensive Licky Licky this week with leftovers. I don't want to get taunted, so I have Oblivious on there. Heal Bell, Wish, Body Slam, and Toxic. Just the mono. This literally can't touch Mega Sableye at all. But I have Magearna to switch into Mega Sableye, so I don't really need to worry about it. Heal Bell to get rid of like Thunder Waves. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Thunder Waves from like a Keldeo or something like that. Heal Bell is good for that. Wish is good. Wish support passing into things. Excuse me. Body Slam is good stab, and I can start paralyzing some of his team. And Toxic is there for the Tangrowth in particular, but Toxic can also be really good against the Tyranitar, against the Mantine, against the Keldeo. Just a very physically defensive, Licky, Impish, max HP, max defense. Pretty much it. And then our late game cleaner, once we get a bunch of chip damage off on his team, is Mimikyu, Sean. This is the reason I made this a Z Captain, is because we can use Normalium Z. I use this really well in the UPBA with Z Splash. It's almost as good as getting up 2 Swords Dances, and it only takes 1 turn. Plus 3 attack is really good, and then I just have the 3 standard moves on there: Shadow Sneak, Shadow Claw, and Play Rough. His team cannot tank those moves. Everything on his team will die to that combination. The only thing is am I faster? And a plus 3 Shadow Sneak does quite a bit of damage to most of his team, but most of the time it's doing like between 50 and 60%, so I'm expecting that I'm going to need quite a bit of chip from the rest of my team before I can bring Mimikyu in and sweep. Or I can just get some attacks off on Mimikyu and make sure my Disguise is still active so I can get a Z Splash off. We're rocking enough speed to outspeed Tyranitar again. CM's got a weird speed thing going on there, where Salazzle's his fastest mon, then he's got Keldeo and Flygon, and then he has a large drop-off, a steep drop-off. Excuse me. Into Klefki, which is his base 75 mon. I don't really consider Rotom Frost a good speed tier there. I mean, it's in between technically, but it's not good against my team as a speed tier necessarily. I have a lot of special defense in there, but I could afford to run Adamant Max Attack, which is really cool. And I have just enough HP to make it an odd HP value. Just for rounding, helps out because Pokemon always rounds down. So if you have an odd value, then it's going to round down. So yeah, that's kind of cool. That's pretty much the team. So get Chip and then Mimikyu sweeps later. That's the plan. Yeah, that's about it. So yeah, I'll catch you guys for the battle.